Yes, you need to learn how to use mean moves in training and actually use them against other people that you roll with. So here's why. One of the things you want to prepare yourself for, not just for self-defense, but also for competition, is anything that somebody can do in order to achieve victory through submission, or in a self-defense situation through strikes. You need to prepare yourself for those things. So, things that are legal in competition, and by the way, should continue to be legal, like wrist locks, heel hooks, cross-facing, pain compliance, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, some of it is mean, but it's legitimate, and it can all be done safely without injuring your training partner if you're training it in the room. So, for example, one of the things you can do, and this is what I do when I'm teaching heel hooks in particular, or neck cranks, is I say, white belts, you guys are not allowed to use these moves. When you become blue belts, I will show you, well, I show them at white belt how to use them. But when they're at blue belt, that gives me a lot more confidence that they'll be able to implement those moves with control and without injuring their training partner. So that's one thing you can do, is you can take a subset of moves that perhaps for a beginner are risky to learn and implement and teach it to them, but tell them, look, until you're bluing up, I don't want you guys doing it to each other. And white belts, you guys tend to spaz, and so you're at a greater risk of injuring yourself and your training partner. So for some things, it's better to leave later on, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't teach them, because you do need to prepare people for these things, right? If grinding your forearm into someone's face, for like a cross face, or, for just pain compliance from the top in order to get something, is something that you never do in the gym, how are you going to prepare that person for that kind of pressure when they get into it in competition, or if someone is actually attacking them in real life? Well, you can't, right? So it makes the people in the room better able to deal with this stuff, and it makes them way more resilient towards those kinds of pain compliance techniques, okay? So like, when people grind their elbow into my chin or face or whatever, that doesn't bother me very much, Like I came from a wrestling background, right? Crossface is a typical move, right? Like everybody does that. Everybody does that to defend shots. Like you slam your forearm across someone's face so that it turns their head and makes it harder for them to drive forward on their takedown. This is just basic stuff for wrestling. So when I came into Jiu-Jitsu and I see some people that I think are a little bit newer in Jiu-Jitsu complaining about seeing ADCC videos of people doing that stuff, where people on the back like grinding back and forth to get a submission and saying stupid things like, oh, I would slam the back of my head into them. It's like, okay, first of all, chill out. It's a completely legal move, and you escalating with a serious strike against a perfectly legal move is a very childish reaction. Please choose another sport. So that kind of mentality is very silly. Anything that's legal, you shouldn't get mad about. The person is just doing what they need to do in order to win. Now you could argue the legality of some rules, like the forward spike that used to be legal in ADCC and now no longer is, I think is a very good rule change. But yeah, you can slam out of submissions in ADCC rules. You can crossface hard. You can use a lot of pain compliance techniques. And I think that's good, because these are elite level competitors, and I don't want to lose that meanness that comes with jiu-jitsu, because it's very important towards making people more resilient. And that is, I think, a main goal of jiu-jitsu, is to make people more resilient towards this kind of stuff, and just in general. So it better prepares you to deal with, the real world, better prepares you to deal with competition. And, these moves, they may hurt, but they're not going to injure you. A crossface is not going to injure you. And that's unless you punch somebody, with the crossface. So don't do that. But if you do a basic crossface, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt permanently. It's not going to injure you, Same thing with things like heel hooks and wrist locks and, and spinal locks and all this stuff, is like, if you apply them slowly and with control in training, and you give your partner plenty of time to tap, and you prioritize their safety first when you're applying these moves, it's fine, Now, there's also a difference between using mean moves and using mean moves to be mean, okay? So if I'm using a mean move, I'm using it for a specific objective. I'm trying to get to a submission. I'm trying to get to victory. I'm not doing it for its own sake, because I take pleasure in, being mean and grinding my elbow into people's faces. No, I'm trying to meet a specific objective and win. If you become that person that just like, sits people in scarfold and you just grind your elbow into their face, just because, and you're not going to submit them with it, it's like, all right, come on, you're being a bit of a dick. So don't do that. But it's absolutely valid to use these kinds of moves and pain compliance in order to meet your objective because they are effective. And if you do it in the room, guess what? All your training partners and everyone in the school, they become way more resilient towards that kind of move. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you share this video if you feel like you agree with this message. Leave a comment if you disagree. If you like what we say on this channel, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you click the notification bell so you guys get notified when we have new videos out there. And I'll see you guys next time.